Good evening, VivaMK. It's 6 o'clock on the 16th of August 2019, and I'm absolutely delighted to be back here giving you an update on our business. So just a little summary of what's happened in the last few weeks. 3 weeks ago, I told you that everything started. I became the solo owner of VivaMK, and just for the record, because of course with these things there's always many rumors flying about, not that I pay much attention to those, but no, my partners didn't do a runner on me. No, they didn't dump me. We just decided to go into different directions, and the parting has been very, very amicable. That's it. There's nothing else you need to know. That was 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I did a Facebook Live at 6 o'clock on a Friday 2 weeks ago, and I told you that the plan was in motion. It was underway, but of course, things were going to be exceptionally busy because the goals that we have to achieve in just a matter of weeks and make the transition are absolutely humongous. Probably a bigger project than I've ever put my hands onto, and I've certainly put my hands onto some projects in the past. And in 2 weeks, it'll be the dawning of our showcase. So everything has been happening so fast. So only 3 weeks ago, this whole process started where we had to reform the business, restructure it and change it. Of course, talking about Facebook Lives, many people do Facebook Lives, and let me tell you about that. Many people from many businesses do Facebook Lives. I'd like to think ours is special, not because I'm doing it, but it's just special. And the reason it's special, because I'm not carrying this message for an organization. I'm not a leader in a company. I'm not carrying the message for anybody else. I am the message. This is the only message. It's not an interpretation of what a company is doing. It's not a version of what a company is up to. I'm not trying to explain to you what the company that I'm involved with does. This is the message. Now, that's the big difference between hearing my message and maybe anybody else's from any other organization. And that's not taking anything away from anybody. I never do that. You never criticize other companies. My point is that this is the message. It's not on behalf of anybody. It's not as part of a company. It is the message, the company talking directly to you. And that's something special that we have. And I always want to maintain that connection, that I'm not a representative. I am the message and the only message. To me, that's quite special. And I want to always maintain that, not just with the pioneers of the organization, but with everybody that's involved, that I can have this direct contact with you, not just through Facebook Live, but through emails, through messages, and the other 100 ways that you find ways of contacting me, including knocking on the front door. But anyway, I am the message. So I've missed speaking to you last week, but it has been a very busy time. I remember telling you 2 weeks ago, it was like that scene from Fawlty Towers where Basil Fawlty, if you're old enough to remember, is on the ladder putting the moose head up, and every time he gets up on the ladder, he has to come back down from the ladder to answer the phone to tell Sybil that he's putting the moose head up. Anyway, it's quite a fractious situation, but I was relating that to the fact that people keep asking me how are things going, and rightly so, because you're concerned about the business, you're part of the business, and you're excited about things going. So yes, it has been a moose head over 2 weeks. Every now and again it fell off and hit me on the head, and if you remember when that happened to Basil Fawlty, he completely went mad for a short period. Well, that's happened too. Yes, it fell. And talking of Basil Fawlty, not this is a resurrection of old sitcoms, but the Monty Python foot, if you remember Monty Python, as it just slams down on you. Well, anything that's happened has been happening, but we've been making progress, and I'll tell you about that in a moment. So the goal was always to resurrect the business, have a brand new infrastructure, brand new logistics infrastructure, new catalogues, and basically launch the business at the showcase. That's all. We had just a handful of weeks to do that, and I told you 2 weeks ago that we've got a very select a bunch of people on board with us, helping us and supporting us. People that have a huge experience, not only from Kleeneze, but catalogue backgrounds, but of course general mail order and selling through catalog. So it was a case of enlisting some of the best people that I could get onto board, to blackmail them, cajole them and bully them, but one way or another we got them on board and they're working away. I didn't give you any names because it wasn't necessary to do that, but many of them you will know, and I told you that I had 6 people working on our behalf in the business trying to get us to where we want to be. So let me just tell you what's been happening. I know we've had a few challenges with deliveries over the last few days, the last few weeks in fact. I do believe we're all caught up this afternoon for all deliveries that up to 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. I also explained in my email yesterday that there will be a few challenges whilst this transition is going on, and do be flexible with those delays. Next week, and I can only apologize for that, but I kind of knew it was coming, which is why I tried to preempt it. But you can never be sure what the impact is really going to be. I can only apologize that I don't want to let customers down, and I don't want to let you down, obviously. On Monday, or very first thing Tuesday, but we're aiming for Monday, we'll give you a full timeline of what's going to happen over the next few weeks as we make our transition. So you'll need to know ordering days, order delivery times, and anything else you need to know. We'll put that in a communication on Monday, so you're fully aware leading up to the showcase. Catalogues are under production. It's not an easy task, as you well and truly know, as I've so demonstrated over the years. It's not an easy process. It's not a straightforward process, but we're certainly getting there. One of the key things that many of you keep asking every time I get up on the ladder to put the moose head up, I come down and answer the phone, but one of the things you're asking often is pricing of products. I know that's been a contentious issue many times through our first year in VivaMK as we were establishing our stake in the ground. That's one thing I'm very concerned about. I've always told you that. It's something that we are going to look at, and we're going to really make that prominent in these catalogues, that the one thing that your customers will say of all the criticisms they may have, it certainly won't be pricing at the top of their list. So that's something that we're definitely concentrating on, and that's just to answer the many times I've been asked that over the last 2 weeks. Logistics, we've got the whole setup organized already. We won't start shipping from the new location just yet. Again, many people have been asking me where the location is, and I've been saying none of your goddamn business. We'll tell you when it's appropriate and time to tell you. I mean, you don't need to know where these things are coming from. What you need to know, and don't get me wrong, and I do appreciate you asking, and I know it's because you care, and I know it's because you're excited about the business. We'll tell you all when it's all set up and it's all ready to press the button. In respect of the initial setup and the location and the process, all of that is already in place. And from next week, week commencing Monday the 19th, we'll even start accepting products that will be coming into this location for the new catalogue. So as you can see, things are moving very fast. None of this was possible by me alone. It's taken a team of people working behind the scenes to get this done. And as you can imagine, there is a lot of plates spinning and a lot of things that have to happen. And many of us have been through this before, and we've seen what happens when things don't go quite right. So it's taken a lot of planning, a lot of backbreaking, and a lot of just persistence and consistency. And that's the way you have to do these things. So logistics, I'm happy with that. Catalogues are in production. The next big thing that'll happen, of course, is our showcase. Last week, I revealed to you my selection of speakers. Every single one of them has a story and a training to offer that will inspire and motivate you. And I know, we've always had various selection of speakers, and I always pick them for a reason. The ones that you will see on the 31st, like I say, are from completely different backgrounds, completely different stories, completely different aspects of the business. And that will be, fantastic training and inspiration. The showcase is about many things. We called it Don't Stop Me Now. Little did I know that that was going to become, a very important statement, as in Don't Stop Me Now, a very important statement for this business. I won't stop me, no one can stop me, and no one can stop us when we're working together. And that's very prominent in this organization. Your support, and I'll come back to the showcase in a second, but your support over the last 3 weeks since this process happened has been unbelievable. I've even got some of you, and quite a few of you in fact, involved in various aspects behind the scenes, and I'll reveal all of those names when the time is right. But it's true to be said that when people are enthusiastic and when people are excited, it's amazing what can be achieved. And what we have achieved together in just 3 weeks has been unbelievable. There's still a long way to go. But 3 weeks ago, when it all started, I kid you not, because most of it was a whirlwind, I didn't really have a plan. I knew it had to be done, but I didn't have a very specific plan. Now it's a very specific plan with dates and times and schedules. And the intention is to hit that, of course. So the showcase on the 31st, yes, it's about speakers. Yes, it's about telling you exactly what's happening from the message, because I'm not delivering a message on anybody else's behalf. I am the message. So we will talk about the business and we'll get the inspiration and training. But again, like happened back in February, it is a connection of all the people that are in this business that make this business what it is. A fantastic connection of people. I remember saying at that showcase, it felt like we were home again. And that's really what I want to try and recreate on the 31st, a sense of home, a sense of belonging, a sense of partnership. Now, as a leader in another organization, I couldn't do that, but I can promise you that as the owner of this organization, we're all partners in this. I will always maintain that, but that sense of home is what I want to bring back. And it'll be a celebration. It'll be a kickstart to the business. It'll be a celebration. And those things connected together will give us what I regard probably our most important showcase to date. So, just to recap, yes, everything is on track. I appreciate everything you've done, all the support. There's been challenges, but of course there's going to be, anything worth doing has its challenges. Nothing worth doing is straightforward. Like I've always mentioned, the long and winding road. We will have a business that we will all be proud of. I've got so much input from so many of you, and I know I've often joked about people saying, some daft things, and that's fine. I do that myself, as you well and truly know. But the beauty is that so many of you have got such a clear idea as well of what the business should be. And remarkably, I know I've said if you ask 100 different people, you get 100 different opinions, but remarkably, there's some very common threads of what people want in this business. And that's the amazing thing about us. I know we're going through a temporary bit of pain as we get back to where we want to be, but the amazing thing is that we're able to build a business that you want. You're not joining one that has been built decades ago and joining a structure that's already present. You're almost creating this as you're going along, creating it with your input and your ideas and your feelings. And it's fantastic because as much as I've joked about it in the past, there are some very common threads of common sense in what everybody says. Look, I've never underestimated that. I'm very aware of that. And it's fantastic as we're repiecing the business together to involve some of that common thread of common sense that everybody is talking. And one of those areas, like I've already mentioned, has been pricing. So look, it's not long to wait now before we do the reveals on everything. I just wanted it today to catch up, to give you any confidence if you needed it, that yes, we're on track, that the whole exercise is monumental. Couldn't have done it without some great people on board, which you'll all get to hear about very soon. Couldn't have done it with your input, not just your everyday support, that's fantastic, but your actual input. There's people doing things in the network, and you know what? I didn't even have to ask, and that's the fantastic thing. What other company could that have ever happened in? I didn't even have to ask, and offers of help and cooperation were pouring in. That doesn't happen. It's not normal. It is unique to us. Do you think that really happens in some of the other organizations? Absolutely bloody not. It doesn't. It happens in our business because we are a connection of people that call ourselves, when we're together, a sense of home and partnership, and that makes a massive difference. So I won't do a live next week because, again, like I said, it's exceptionally busy at the moment. I don't want to keep sounding like I'm bleating about the same thing, but, you know, it is busy. But I will do a live on Thursday the 29th at midday. So we'll resurrect our midday slot, and that'll give you a final kind of update before we dive headfirst into the showcase weekend. So Thursday the 29th at midday, we'll have another brief update, as I said, before we dive into our showcase. So thank you for everything you're doing. Apologies for the deliveries and, of course, the rapidly dwindling stock in some of the catalogues. That was something that I told you from the beginning. It was going to happen as one system phases out and a new one comes in. The idea is to keep the piece in the middle between the two as seamless as possible. I know these things are easier said than done, but we're trying to get there, and we will do, and I'll keep you updated. So Monday, watch out for the timeline schedule that tells you when things fall in place and how they fall into place. And trust me, they are really falling into place. And none of that would have been possible without this remarkable bunch of people on your side of the network and this side over here. I've never known anything like it. There wasn't even this kind of support and assistance in previous businesses. It wasn't there. We had some, of course we did, and many of you did lend your hands there. But here, it's that offer of support. I can't imagine that happening in your average business or organization. That's because we're not an average business or organization. We can't be. Not the way that you've stepped up to the plate and what you've brought to the table. So I appreciate that. We are going to have an amazing showcase, one that will bring us back home again and, you know, launch what I call the next phase of our business, the kickstart to our next phase. It's all evolution. It's all this partnership, and I'm just proud to be part of it and proud to have each and every one of you on board. So I guess my final parting word, other than the thanks and the support you're giving, is whatever you can do get to the showcase. You know, fly there, walk there, whichever way you can get there, please do get there, even if you have to crawl there, because I want you to feel that sense of family, which I truly believe is missing in almost any other organization. We've got it, and that's something very special, so make the most of it. So I'll see you soon. I'll speak to you at midday on the 29th to give you a final update of where we are. That gives me literally another 2 weeks to get my act together and get everything falling into place, which it truly is. And remember what I said at the start. I'm not delivering a message on behalf of anybody else. This is not the company's message. This is my message directly to you, the people that matter in this organization. It is the message. Take care and have a great weekend. I'll speak to you in 2 weeks.